I meant to, for some reason, I'm having a little trouble with YouTube uploading, but I will figure it out. Um, I will figure it out. There's some to it, but I will figure it out. So as I was saying, I have this on my journal. I'm sorry, let me just take a sip. I have this on my journal. I keep them by me each and every day. And these two journals, these are like my precious. These are my kids. Besides my animals that I have, these are like my two best friends. Right? All right. I can do a little bit of a lot of stuff. I have some of the stuff that I know how to do. I didn't learn them. They just came like that. It's a gift. Some of my stuff are gifts to me that was given and passed on to me. From lines of generational stuff, things like that, ancestors, things like that. So I will tell you a little bit about me, who I really am, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like to know about me, what I really do. But I would just give you a little bit of a taste of my life. I will try to welcome you little by little, so you can know who I am. But then again, people still tell me they don't know me. I don't know. Even people in my real life, they tell me, we don't know you. Okay, fine, never mind. So in this book, in this journal that I have here, the first page this is just something. Well, some of the stuff that I have written, I had to tear them out. I have to tear out the pages. So those are the things that I was letting go. Those were the things that didn't serve me no purpose. That wasn't my journey, that I needed to let go and surrender to them, to let them go, to be able to heal on my process. And some of those things weren't too good. Some of those things, I written a letter to the woman that born me. I written a letter to the father that born me. I written a letter to each person of my family that I knew that they were my family. Well, those are like my birth family. I call them birth family. She just born me and that was it. The rest, okay. So I would try not to be too emotional about it. I would try not to put my emotion in, I would try not to get my emotion over it, to get into it, because I really want you guys to really get ahead of what is really going on and why I am the way I am today. I have been, from the time I got into this universe, into this planet, I remember everything. I remember when I was born, they brought me home, and that's when things start happening, and that's when things start going left for the family. And so I feel like, well, first of all, my middle name, I have 3 middle names, but 2 my middle name. My first middle name, Doris, which is what I call me DR, DR. But Taurus is one of my middle name. It means gifts. Ornel means angel. So my family, I will just give you a little bit of it. So since I was born, I remember I came home. They brought me home and they left me on a bed, because where I'm from, I'm African first, and then I'm African and American. I was born as African first, and then I'm African and American, and then I'm all the above around the world. You know, I am a being. But I think some of the stuff that I have seen as a child traumatized me. Some hurt. Some teaches me a lesson. Some I have to let go. The ones that hurt was I came home, my mother, the one that born me, she was never there. She abandoned me. She left me right there. She left me on a bed, which were from the bed, you know, this is like back in the day. So right now everything changed, apparently, basically. So I was left on the bed, abandoned the first day when I came home. Few weeks I was there. She was taking care of me the first few weeks. But as soon as her and the father to be of mine start having problems, since they start having problems in the family, I was abandoned. I was left there. My sister had to come and take care of me, basically. And so my grandmother take over. She left me on the bed alone. I fell. I got burned right here. I still have some of the marks. She came home. I was abandoned most of my childhood. Even until I was an adult, before I even came here. Me and her, we don't really have a good relationship. But you know what I would say? I would say that I was burned with a motorcycle first. I was burned with my father. I think he was leaving, and I got burned. I was trying to rush to him so that way he can be able to pick me up at that time, and he left me. He didn't want to pick me up. So I end up getting burned. You know, the motorcycle has like something at the bottom where it get hot and things like that. I got burned from it. I got burned with the porridge right over here. Also, I got burned somewhere on my arm, also right here, right there. So I have a lot of burn mark. I was left by myself. She didn't really care for me. So we literally left my father's house and we went to my grandfather's house. So when we went to my grandfather's house, she still left me there with my grandmother. So I end up getting raised by my grandmother. So basically, most of my childhood that I was there, my grandmother raised me. She was a great woman. She was a very, 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 very wonderful woman. But my mother, she was never there. Every time I asked for attention, every time I asked for, you know how they call you the black sheep of the family? Everybody says that. So from the time I was born, I was already given so many things, taken so many things. my childhood was taken away from me. I was beaten. I was left at home with no food. I was locked in the house. I didn't have enough food to go back and forth to school. I didn't have nobody there. When I needed people to be there for me, nobody was there. She wasn't even there. So my father, he passes. I didn't cry. Because first of all, I didn't really know the person that was my father. So I didn't really have any emotion, really. Emotion was just dry. I had to surround it to that also because I was like only 9, 10, 11, or 13 at the time, or 12, something like that. I came home. We came from the funeral home. She was like, you were the reason why your father passed. You were the reason why your father passed. I'm like, wait, what? I'm the reason I was young. I was 12, 13. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. So she was like, oh, you should have known, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so I asked my grandmother what's really going on, because my grandmother was the one that raised me. I don't know anything, you know. So I asked my grandmother, I was like, why is she saying that, you know? So from there, I got locked in the house. My father, he passed, so-called father, he passed in 94. I have his, the date that he passed, rest his soul. He passed in 94. I was at that time, probably 12, 13, I believe. That's when all hell broke loose. We was living at that time in one bedroom apartment. I was left in that house by myself for a month. No food, no drink, beating for no reason. So trauma. When I say trauma is horrible, it's horrible. Trauma is horrible. I was always getting beaten for no reason. I was always getting whooping for some reason. Every time I could go to school and come back, I had to sell stuff. I used to sell, like little eggs, few of my things that I used to find on the street, bottles, my books. Sometimes I would sell them to be able to go to school, to be able to buy food, to be able to do, transportation and things like that. Thank God before I was able to afford it, because at that time, again, it was what it was. So I'm growing up. I left there when I was probably 17, 18, I believe. And I came here. So when I came here, she was still manipulating. My mother was a narcissist. I was born in a narcissist family. Narcissist mother, brother, sisters, everybody. Just narcissist, toxic family. I was abused. Trigger warning. I don't want anybody to get offended, because this is my life. I was abused sexually, emotionally, physically. I was abused in all ways. Traumatized. I remember one day, so I used to always run away from home. The reason why I always used to run away from home was because nobody would show me the love that I deserve. Nobody would give me the love that I deserve. From mother all the way to brothers and sisters, nobody would ever give me the love that I wanted it. We used to go to church. They always used to send us to church every Sunday. But as soon as we come from church, I was getting beat. As soon as I come from church, it was always a problem. But she's always having a problem. She's just toxic like that. One day I remember going to church, you know, doing what we have to do. Yes, I know about the Lord Jesus Christ. They sent us to church, but besides going to church, when we come from church and come home, we also have another religion. Because we have church, they put the church to cover up on whatever that we really supposed to be worshiping, which is not even worship. I wouldn't even say worshiping. We was in the line that I was born in. I'm trying not to give too much. In the line that I was born and raised in, my line is dead. I came from a long line of kings and queens and princesses and things like that. My great-grandfather, he was a king. My great-grandmother was a king on both sides. My father was a king. He had 2 wives. I wasn't aware of it. One already passed before I showed up. My brother was supposed to be the next king before he passed, but unfortunately he didn't make it. Because again, that's the tradition that we have going on. So we will go to church on Sunday, but on Saturday we'll have a traditional things that we normally do, and we would do the traditional things, and then on Sunday they would send us to church. And they always put religion, oh no, church. I'm like, well, we never was a church person. If you really look at it, we went to church, but that's not really what we did. They would send you to church. But besides you going to church, you're doing something else when we come home. Yes, we read the Bible. Yes, we know what the Bible is. I read the Bible, I know what the Bible is. But as soon as you come from church, you have to learn about the herbs. You have to learn about how to do this. My grandfather, he shows me, you know, he told me a whole lot of stuff about this whole thing that's going on. My ancestors, I'm like, wait, what? So you just sent me to church just to cover up what you were doing? At one point, he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, fine, you know. So, but I'm grateful on learning. Me and my sister, we always fought. We never got along. We still don't get along. We don't get along. We never get along. We always used to fight. So in this book, I talked about at one place here, I think I probably ripped it off. Yeah. It was in a place where I talked about thank you for not being there for me. Thank you for abandoning me. Thank you for not reaching out to me when I needed you to. Cliche, right? Cliche. I came here and she was still emotionally manipulating. She always used to tell me, no, you have to take care of your mother. You have to do this. Yeah. That was when I was like growing up, 18, 19, and so on and so forth. And she figured, okay, I'm getting older. I'm growing up now. I'm working and things like that. You're supposed to send some money to your mother. You're supposed to do this. I'm like, I used to send it. But at one point, I was like, you know what? No. The trauma was I have to filter out certain stuff. Because I don't want to trigger anybody. This is why I'm just giving you the big pieces of the thing, so that way you can add one to one to the little bit that I have been through. Sometimes I will leave the house and don't show up, but my grandmother always looked for me and bring me home. Or she would send my mother, my birth mother, and she would be like, go look for her, because they always know where I'm at. It's either I'm over my grandmother's house, or either I'm over my grandfather's house, or I'm over my friend's house. So they always used to come and look for me, and they know where I'm at. And she used to bring me home and beat me up seriously, with all the pain, and I have to wake up the next day. At one point, I got beat up, and I don't know what came over her head, and she cut my whole hair off. My hair used to be right here. I was like 14, 15. My own natural hair was right here. She cut it all off. Everything. So I had to wake up the next day to go to school. Think about it. I'm like, now I don't have no hair on my head. Last night I had hair. Today I don't have any hair on my head. So she used to say, well, you don't listen. You are the reason why all of these things are happening to me. You were this, you were that. You were never, you would never be something. You always this, you always, and she always the nitpick, always used to throw her words at me. At that time, I didn't know. She always used to throw her words at that time, and I didn't know why she was doing that. And one night, I went to my grandmother's house, and me and her, we was talking. My grandmother told me, you're a little bit like me. I was like, what do you mean, grandmother? She was like, you're a little bit like me. When you grow up, you will find out why. You will know why. I was like, okay, grandma, so do you want to explain yourself a little bit? Grandma, she was cool as a collective. She was calm as a cucumber. She was a calmest woman on this planet Earth. She loved animals. She adopts animals. She adopts kids. Even though she had like 23 kids on her own at that time, she still adopted some kids. She raised me, and she raised a few of my cousins and stuff. And she has some plants. She has garden. She used to be always outside. No shoes on, I did never understand how, why, when, those things were happening. So when I was writing in this book, I'm grateful that some of these things did happen. I'm grateful that I was able to learn certain things that happened to me, because I have learned, and they still happen today in certain family, believe it or not. The mother will have the child and just abandon it and leave it, and just keep hopping on from people to people, things like that, and they always want to put their blame on the child. Well, I never wanted you. You should never be here. I should have got rid of you. I should have got rid of you. I should have aborted you. You should not be here. You were just a curse to the family. You're just like, wow, really? I was taken by some of the words that she's saying, at that time. So every time when she comes, she will laugh in my face, but then behind me is always something else that she's doing. I caught her one night. I was asleep. She came here. At that time I was living with my sister. At one point was living down south, but I was living with my sister at that time. So she came. She was trying to stay in the same room. They give her the same room that I sleep at. I'm like, why would you do that? But anyway, she stayed in the room at night while I'm asleep. She's not asleep, but something told me to wake up. At that time, still I didn't know why. Something just woke me up. So I just opened my eyes. She didn't know that I was watching her the whole time. So what she was doing was she was just saying words. She was just saying words. She was there and she had her thing on. She was doing her thing. And the next morning, I spoke to her. I was like, you know what? You know that whatever you was, what were you doing at that time? And she lied about it. She lied about it. She was like, oh, I wasn't doing anything, things like that. I was like, you were saying words. What do those words mean? Why would you want to say some words to your child? Why would you want to do your child like that? Why would you want to give your child away just like that? Because of what? Because you want to feel inferior to her? Because you think you keep calling her the sheep or the black sheep of the family or whatnot? Since that time that I left, I have never went back and I have never seen her again. I made a decision. And that was my decision. It was the hardest decision ever that I had to make. Because I'm like that. But that was my born mother. She birthed me. But she didn't take care of me. I took care of myself all my life. So I'm like, you know what? I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision for myself. I had to make it for myself. I have to do it for me to be able to have the peace that I needed, to be able to have the freedom, so that way I won't have everything on my shoulder. I won't feel like I have everything on my shoulder that I have to carry. So she used to blame me for everything. She used to blame me for everything that happens. She still does. She still does. But you know what? I am here today. I am grateful. I've reading, the letters that I have reading to her, because somebody told me, if you really want to let go of all those traumas, of all those things that happened to you, you need to put them journaling. Pray over it and let it go. So that's exactly what I did. I burned, I wrote them down on a paper, because if you really see, you will see that a few pages, came off from the page, from, this book. But I got rid of them. The date that I released it, it was about 4 or 5 pages of it. I wrote everything. And I threw out the paper. It felt so good. It felt good. But I'm here today to tell my story. There's certain other things that I'm supposed to say in it, but I have to censor certain of those things. So I just have to. I can't say everything. And some of them still traumatized, because I know it may be some kids that wants to watch. That wants to watch this video also, and I don't want those kids to. It's just a trigger warning, that's all. But I am grateful that I'm here, guys. I made it to this age. I made it. I made it. Could you believe it? I made it. All these years, I've released a whole lot. And that's when I started my journey. So I have been through some hard time. When I had started this journey also, oh my God, this journey is not all glitter and gold, you know. No ma'am, it's not glitter and gold. This journey is a rocky mountain. I call it a rocky mountain. It's a mountain where it goes up and down. I was saying yesterday, I found a bird, a unique bird. Was flying, unique, just fly up and then comes down sideways. So I was just looking at it, amazed by that bird. So I was comparing the bird to my life. I'm like, wait, what? So that's what it was at that time. And so this journey is not an easy journey as much as people think it is. You know? Even though you can manifest what you want, it's still more to the spiritual world than what a lot of people think it is. We don't never tell everything. So that's why I'm like, I prefer to be positive, high vibrational, positive, and just follow my intuition. I do that a lot. Following my intuition. It's the one thing that got me here, actually. Following my intuition. That's the only thing that'll get you there, though. That's the only thing that'll get you there. If you look at it. You think about it and you'll be like, I should have followed my intuition. I should have followed the gut feeling. Even though I knew that God existed, Jesus Christ or whatnot existed, but that wasn't really what we was taught. We'll go to church and then we'll come home and it's a whole nother ballroom game behind closed doors. So behind the church, which is the closed door, the church is the one that's covering up whatever that's going on behind closed door. Because every time I used to go to school, the kids used to make fun of me at school. My friends that I grew up with, they used to make fun of me. They said, oh, you always come to school fucked up all the time. So, excuse me. You always come to school, you know, with your hair cut off all the time. Like, at that time, still, I didn't know. But one thing, though, I was always a happy child. For myself, actually, even though nobody was there, I was still happy because my grandmother used to give me a lot of stuff. She would give me a few of the things and then I would go figure it out. She used to tell me how I could go ahead and hustle and make a few coins on the side. Rest her soul. Few coins on the side and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what grandma told me to do. Grandma said do that, do that, do that, do that, and you're going to make you some money. I was like, fine, I'm doing it, grandma. So, I did everything that she told me, actually. She's a wonderful woman. She was a wonderful woman. She was a wonderful woman. I love her. I still have a love in my heart for my grandmother. I wasn't there when she left. Rest her soul. I wasn't there when she left. So, I was there when my grandfather left, but I didn't drop a tear because I didn't have no attachment with him. My grandmother hurt. She hurt. They treat my grandmother the same way they treat me. If she wasn't the problem, she was trying to solve the problem. She was trying to solve everybody else's problem and leave her problem behind, But still, they still didn't treat her right. She gave everything she could, though. So, she did everything she could. She was a beautiful woman. I cannot take that from her. She was a beautiful woman. She raised me, my brothers, and my sister too, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I know she raised me from the time I was born. So I love that woman. But have these things, I think if I was still there, back where I'm from, I don't think I would have made it. Because I think as soon as I came overseas and I started learning the things that I learned, doing the things that I'm supposed to do, I was like, I always leave from here. I had always gave from here. I gave everything that I could. You took my happiness. You took my mental. You took my joy. You took my peace at the time. You took everything. At that time, she took everything. And she wanted everything to be about her. That's what narcissism is. She wanted everything to be about her. So every time something happened, she'd be like, well, I'm sick. So one time she called me telling me she was sick, right? Meanwhile, she wasn't sick. My brother called me later and she was like, oh no, she's not sick. She just lied to you. I said, oh, you just lied? So she used to make everything up to be able to get what she wants out of me for some reason. So I'm like, why would you want to lie to your daughter to get what you want? Why wouldn't you just want to just tell the truth? She still lied. She still lied. But I'm grateful. I'm here. That's why I keep saying that today, anything that she talks about me, even my own family talks about me. Beat me up. They say your closest ones, your family is the closest one that you have to pay attention to, not the ones from outside, because the ones that your family or like your blood is like, they are the worst sometimes. All depends on everybody's family, please, but they're the worst sometimes if you really look at it. But I don't take anything for granted. I am grateful that I was born in that family. I guess that family was a lesson for me to learn. I don't know. I still love them though. I do. Why not? I just called them my born family, but in my head, I don't know. in my hair. I don't know. But I still have love for them. You know? But other than that, it was what it was. That's it. I've been broken. Relationship, friendship, platonic. Excuse me. Everything. Everything was taken away from me. Everything. It was. It's just horrible. It was just horrible. This is what saved me, actually. This journey that I'm on now. It's still not easy. But each and every day I pull through. Each and every day I give thanks. Each and every day I do what I'm supposed to do. Each and every day I give grace and forgive myself mostly first. I ask for forgiveness. I forgive myself and forgive myself for the things that I have done. Even if it's good, bad, whatever. I always say I forgive myself for the things that I have done, and forgive myself for letting the people do that for me, because I let them. I couldn't protect my childhood, you know, my inner child, or whatever they call it, my kid, my little self. Then I couldn't save her. I couldn't do anything for her. So today, when somebody wants to hurt her, I'm like, don't bring it over here. Don't bring it. I would do anything to protect her. I would do anything to protect my little old me. My small me, my small self. I would do anything to protect her. So even from relationship too, it's the same thing. Toxic, narcissism, this, that. Oh my! I had enough of it. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Oh my Lord! I was like, I'm still alive. I made it, y'all. I made it. Like, some people tell me stuff today. I'm like, are you sure? You wanna do that to me? You know what I have went through? You know what I have been through? You know what please give me a break. Think about whatever you want to do before you do it. But I will leave it here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an ear for me. I love you so much. But what I would tell you guys is have a great weekend. Have a good time. It's the holiday season. Here we go. I'm still alive. I'm funny. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Be careful whatever you do. Forgive people. Love one another. And peace out. Much love. Blessings.